This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. Today I saw this post from Royally Sage talking about the two invisible children and a possibility as to why we don't see them. I think it's worth having this conversation as to where are little Betty and Archie? The Sussex squad is at it again, fueling online conspiracy theories about where is Kate. They're completely ignoring the fact that Catherine has cancer and she's trying to get better. We should just leave her alone. But in any case, if that's what they want to do, then I think it's only fair that we ask the same question of where is little Betty and Archie? We haven't seen them in what, like a couple of years? I think that deserves more attention than allowing a woman who has cancer to just take it easy and remain out of the spotlight until she gets better. So let's get into having this discussion. So, getting back to Royally Sage's post, she had pinned up one of the comments made by Secondhand Cope. I've mentioned her before as she's a reliable source and she has feet on the ground in California, but it's always important that we give this disclaimer. And she writes here, I have a source in Hollywood who tells me when any gossip gets circulated about the successes. I just want to stress that this is just gossip, not gospel, and should be taken as such. So, to give some context to this, the question was asked in St. Meghan Markle subreddit, where it says, the reason we don't see the kids. And JoJo9600 writes, hear me out for a second. I think the reason the kids are never seen is because they would take the spotlight away from the Duchess. With them in the picture, she would be the mum of the prince and the princess. They would completely overshadow her, and I'm convinced she knows this, and this is why we don't see them. She's trying to make herself as relevant as she possibly can before it becomes impossible to keep them behind closed doors for any longer. She is a narcissist. She feeds off of attention. There's no way she would willingly give that attention to someone else, even her own children, especially when they hold a higher title than Miss Dumbarton. It boggles my mind that people are still fueling her. What has she done to help anyone? You know, when you see those videos of people recording themselves giving money to the homeless, this is exactly what she is doing. If you're helping someone but taking photos of yourself whilst doing it, it's for yourself, not the person you're helping. It is not selfless. It's not an act of service. It's an act of assholery. Secondhand Coke weighs in and she writes, I don't think the kids would upstage her. No one cares that much about seeing them, and I would have to agree with that. But that's my opinion. The kids aren't seen because they do not look the way she wants them to. Meghan has a very warped idea of beauty. The pictures released of the children are shot so that we don't know what they look like, save for the pictures and video of Archie as a baby and save for the first year pic of Lily with the very fine red hair and blue eyes. Here's what I've heard about the actual appearances. As we've seen, Archie is the spitting image of Meghan as a young child, and I would say that would be the spitting image of Mr. Markle. He is also reported to be Meghan's favorite and that she has little to do with Lily. My theory on this, if it is true, is that Meghan's original physical features are fine for a boy, but not for a girl. Meghan is said to have been hell-bent on a little girl with straight red strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes. This is supported by the Todgers' comments about Lily's appearance in the crockumentary and how Harry went on about her blue, blue, blue eyes. That baby picture released when Lily turned 1 is what Meghan wanted the baby to look like. How photoshopped that picture was, I don't know, but the word is that Lily is not a straight haired redhead with blue eyes. Maybe the baby did start out that way, but babies' features tend to darken with age, and Lily has been no exception. Her hair is said to have darkened to brown, and that as it thickens, it's developing more and more texture, which should be no surprise as even Harry's has textured hair. Her eyes are supposedly a hazel color, but she is only 3. They could still darken further. She is said to be very thin, with a body type like Meghan's, and she is relatively tall for her age. I hear that their temperaments are both sweet but hesitant. I heard that Archie is shy, very anxious and compliant, eager to please, and very malleable. Lily, on the other hand, is standoffish, demure, and observant. She has a sweet disposition, but is not the type of child to perform for others. She doesn't have the same eager to please flexibility that her brother has. If the gossip above is true, then neither kid has Harry's red hair or looks like a Spencer, and neither kid has the characteristics or personality types that are sought after by agents looking for child models, actors. In other words, they aren't show kids, and that's why Meghan never releases any legit portraits or full face pictures of them. So, here are what the sugars have been floating around online. In this artificially generated photo, you notice that the kids are whiter than snow, and there's zero trace of Megan's 43% Nigerian in here. I almost feel as if Megan was the one who created this and told the sugars to now float this out there. I truly believe that Megan hates so much deep down who she is and hates the fact that she is part black. Megan ultimately wants to look like this, and I find it so racist of Joe Diva Runner, who is one of the main squaddies, to be like, I hope Lily gets her looks from this side of Harry's family. Well, what about Doria's side? What's wrong with Doria? Aren't you a proud black woman and would want to see the Nigerian heritage be carried through the lineage? Why the fascination with Caucasian white women? If black is so beautiful, why are you not idolizing Doria's side of the house? Just a question that I think we all know the answer to. Anyhow, I really do feel sorry for these two innocent children who I definitely believe did not come from Megan's body. I do believe that there are children out there. How they secured them is a different question. As much as I would like to say that these children don't exist, I don't believe that. And I think that's the sad part about all of this is that there are two innocent little beings here who just happen to hit the worst parent lotto. These two kids, if not already, are going to need psychological help. I agree with Secondhand Coke. I think a big reason why we don't see these children out and about with Megan is because she is legitimately embarrassed by the way they look, as well as how they behave. I think also another main reason as to why these children never see the light of day is Megan's inferiority complex. I do believe that there is some element of attention being taken away, as well as she's not going to be able to handle any criticism. When I say criticism, we know that there is going to be comparisons between the Wales's children and then her children. And I don't think she's going to be able to handle that, especially if those children are not attractive in the way that the Wales's children are attractive. Hence the reason why there's so much jealousy that Megan has. I also think that Megan doesn't want to expose herself for being a shit parent. I mean, when we see her in the rare few times of her handling baby Archie, you could see that she just was not a natural. There's some mothers who naturally take to their children when they have them. Megan doesn't have that natural mother instinct, and that could possibly be because she didn't have these children. That's my belief. I don't believe that Megan gave birth to either of those kids. Combine that with being a narcissist, she doesn't know how to act naturally or react naturally. And this would be very challenging for her in public to control behaviors of these children who don't react in the manner that she needs them to react to portray this facade that she is this caring and loving mom. The most important title that she'll ever have is mom. Of the few times that we've seen Megan want to say interact with baby Archie, she never appeared to actually pay attention to him and what his needs are. It was always about putting on the show. Like, take for instance this polo match. She was there for the show. She didn't pay attention to her child, even though it was like 80 degrees. He was 2 months old. His neck needed to be supported. Like, she brings him out in wearing this. Like, none of that seemed like she was paying particular attention to what his needs were. You would think she would have put him in a carrier or she would have had a stroller, but this child had no sunblock on, no hat, nothing. Then you had Archie's first birthday, and she couldn't be bothered to dress him properly. I mean, it was his first birthday, and all she cared about was reading this stupid book that Oprah asked her to read just because she needed to promote it and promote herself. Oh, and how could we forget Archie going to Africa and Megan doing her best to keep this child still, not really picking up on the cues that he's dribbling all over the place until Harry is telling her, wipe his mouth. Megan didn't care because that Africa trip for her, that meeting with Desmond Tutu, was politically motivated. Sadly, Archie was just a prop in Megan's crusade on being a social justice warrior.
I just got to start with, that was quite a moment, introducing your little boy to this icon of the anti-apartheid struggle, right?
I know.
I
know. I mean, it's not lost on us what a huge and significant moment that is. And I think, Archie will look back at that in so many years and understand that right at the beginning of his life, he was fortunate enough to have this moment with one of the best and most impactful leaders of our time. So it's really special.
Meanwhile, Meghan prevents Archie from being with the Queen of England. Make it make sense. What planet is this woman on? Does she think this was really appropriate to bring cookies and baked goods that say "Me Too" and "Enough is enough"? Where were these cookies in Nigeria? I think that would have been a better message than to bring this for a first-time meeting with Desmond Tutu. This woman is such a clown. Anyhow, I digress. Let's talk about Lily for a second. Imagine, feeling, and I'm sure that this little girl feels that her mother does not treat her the same way that she treats Archie. And also, if Megan is embarrassed by her child or jealous of her child, she's going to take it out on Lily. And there's no doubt in my mind that Megan most likely psychologically is messing this little girl up in her head. I mean, think about this. Lily's first Halloween, her mother dresses her up as a skunk. What does that tell you? I don't doubt for a second that Megan teases and makes fun of this little girl when she's in her moods. May come across as being funny, but deep down inside, these narcs have this sadistic quality about themselves, and I could see easily how Lily could end up being the punching bag. I could see her doing these psychological manipulations with Lily by favoring Archie in front of her if Lily doesn't do the things that she wants her to do, whether it be perform or look a certain way, or just because Megan is feeling like a jerk and she just wants to take it out on someone and Harry's not there. I really feel genuinely sad for little Betty. There's a high probability that this little girl is going to grow up with no confidence and self-esteem, to which she's going to have to seek validation from men like her mother. The only saving grace here that could avert this are the nannies that are actually raising them. That's if they're good nannies. It is rumored that anytime a nanny gets close to these children, these nannies get fired because Megan gets jealous. So it's almost a given that when these kids reach of age, Megan's going to ship them off to boarding school. And I almost think that is the best case scenario for these kids having a chance at growing up with somewhat normal sense of life. Because right now, what's happening with these kids, whether they're being hidden in the attic somewhere or they're just not socializing, is not a good thing for their development. And I think it's actually kind of cruel that Meghan and Harry are doing this to them. But we don't know. We don't know. Perhaps maybe the nannies are with them all the time, going out into Montecito shopping and doing whatnot. And maybe Archie and little Betty have different names. Nobody knows that they are the Sussex kids. The point I'm trying to make here is they're doing an excellent job at keeping their kids private, so their need and screaming and whining about security and getting IPP status back because they want their privacy goes out the window. So anyhow, that's just an observation, but I would like to finish this video off. Many of you most likely have commented already saying that the kids don't exist. Well, this is interesting in what Secondhand Coke had to say. She writes, "The kids exist. I tend to believe Lily was definitely born by surrogate, and I heard the surrogate who carried her lives in and gave birth to Lily in a neighboring state, which is why no Lilibet Diana was registered in the list of babies born on June 4th in California at the time that she was born. I believe the surrogate lives in Arizona, but it could be Nevada. I heard that when Lily was born, the surrogate did not want to give Lily to Harry and Meghan, and that there was a well-concealed battle to get her, and Harry and Meghan had to put a lot of legal pressure on her, but do so without actually issuing proceedings because that would be public record and would blow the whole thing out of the water. All this is why there was radio silence about Lily for several months after she was born. They did ultimately get her from the surrogate. Those are the rumors surrounding Lily, and Harry and Meghan have proven themselves to be such outrageous liars that this could turn out to be true, and it wouldn't surprise me a bit. I also wouldn't be surprised if the baby wasn't genetically a Markle, but haven't heard that is true. I've also heard that members of Oprah crew somehow saw the moon bump. I'm torn on Archie. I can make just as strong of a case for used to surrogate as I can for gave birth, but accentuated the bump size with a moon bump. Regardless of how they came into the world, though, there is no doubt in my mind that Markle wore a moon bump in both pregnancies. If this is true, and little Betty had time to bond with her birth mother and then had to be handed over to Cruella, think about that kind of trauma. It's not like the baby is a puppy that, like, for the first 10 weeks, they have to be with their mother. I am sure subconsciously little Betty has some type of memory of that. Subconsciously. You got to think, like, what type of example is Megan going to set for this little girl? It's quite sad when you think about it. And on top of it, she gets roasted and called out by the First Lady of Nigeria. And I'd like to leave us on that note with this little video montage and this empowering speech.
The message here is we have to salvage our children. We see the way they dress. They keep forgetting that Nigeria, we are beautiful. The moment you can see what they showcase on the stage, I said we are fashionable, we see what is going on. We are not having a Met Gala, and everyone, their nakedness is just everywhere. And the men are well clothed. So we have to do something. Tell them the way it is. We don't accept nakedness in our culture. That is not beautiful. It's not beautiful at all. And they're all beautiful girls. But they should be confident to know they are. They don't want to be like, even they are mimicking and trying to emulate film stars from America. They don't know where they come from. Why did Meghan come here looking for Africa? That is something we have to take home with. We know who we are, and don't lose who you are. God bless you.
I was such a fraud.